At a press briefing on Tuesday, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis was asked point-blank about former President Trump's upcoming press briefing. Trump is rumored to be announcing a 2024 presidential bid. DeSantis was also asked about Trump's recent comments slamming him and warning him not to run for president. Recent polling shows the Florida governor outpacing Trump among primary voters in Iowa, New Hampshire, Texas, and Georgia. DeSantis is considered the Republican Party's most likely alternative to the 45th president. The rivalry between the two men is set to heat up, should DeSantis decide to run for the highest office in the land.
Governor DeSantis would like to know what you think about Trump's big announcement and some of the less than flattering comments he has made about you.
Well, you know, one of the things I've learned in this job is when you're leading, when you're getting things done, yeah, you take incoming fire. That's just the nature of it. I roll out of bed in the morning. I've got corporate media outlets that have a spasm, just the fact that I'm getting up in the morning, and it's constantly attacking. And this is just what's happened. I don't think any governor got attacked more, particularly by corporate media, than me over my 4-year term. And yet, I think what you learn is all that's just noise. And really what matters is, are you leading? Are you getting in front of issues? Are you delivering results for people? And are you standing up for folks? And if you do that, then none of that stuff matters. And that's what we've done. We focused on results and leadership. And, you know, at the end of the day, I would just tell people to go check out the scoreboard from last Tuesday night. The fact of the matter is, you know, the fact of the matter is, it was the greatest Republican victory in the history of the state of Florida. And it wasn't just the best governor victory. Of course, it was that. But we swept in super majorities in the Florida legislature. We have 85 Republicans out of 120 in our state house. We've never had that many before. We have 28 senators out of 40 that are Republicans. Never had that many. And honestly, they could have had 29 if they would have done the Osceola one. You know, we won Osceola County at the top of the ticket, and I think we probably could have done that. So you see that. You see the school boards. We're electing all these great people to school boards. We had 16 Republican members of the U.S. House from Florida. Now we have 20. Going up there. So that's four seats right there. So at the end of the day, I think people respond to the leadership. They respond to the results. And so that's why, even though I know anytime I do anything, you're over the target, you know, you're going to face incoming. That's just the nature of it. But that's not ultimately what matters to people. What matters to people is, are you standing up for them? Are you leading? And are you getting things done? And we are. Yes.
Party is the real concern between you and Trump. And I know you're not at fault. How do we make it better?
Well, look, I mean, I think some of this stuff gets a little bit overdone in some of the media. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, you had an election nationwide. There were some success stories across the country. I mean, I think the Georgia governor, I think Ohio, I think Texas. But there were a lot of disappointments. I mean, that's just the reality. It was a hugely underwhelming, disappointing performance, especially given that Biden's policies are overwhelmingly unpopular. People think the country's going in the wrong direction. When that happens, they almost always want to choose to correct that by going. Yet in a lot of these states, you know, they didn't do that. Well, the one place I think that people can look to as the blueprint is Florida, because what have we done? I mean, you know, we came in. I had a very close election. In fact, before I became governor, 2010, 2012, 2014, 2016, 2018, all the major races, governor, presidential, were 1 point or less for that time. So in my race was less than a point in 2018. And so we came in to a very, very large, diverse swing state, and we led. And we were on offense. And we didn't shy away from big issues. We took on those issues, and we won victory after victory for the people of Florida. Of course, when you had COVID come, you know, I had to stand on the wall and say, you know what? We're not going to let this state descend into a Faucian dystopia. We're going to stand up for people. We're going to keep things going. And so we did that, and people appreciate that. But we were bold throughout this whole 4 years. I didn't didn't have my finger in the wind. I wasn't trying to contort myself into being something that I'm not. Everyone knew where I stood. Everyone knew what we were doing, and we did it. But I think what it shows is that, if people see that you're leading and they see that you mean what you say and say what you mean, and that you're willing to and you're able to deliver results, we get people to vote for us who may not be in our party. And that's really what you need to do. You don't win by 1.5 million votes if you only get your own party. And so what we were able to do, yes, obviously we got a lot of Republicans turning out because they were supportive, and we appreciate that. But, we won independents by between 15 and 20 points. We probably won 60% of Hispanics statewide. That's a record. No Republican has ever done that. I don't think anyone's ever done that. We won women. That hasn't been done by a Republican governor for 20 years. So we did that. We won Miami-Dade County. Biggest, most urban county in Florida, 70% Latino, and not only did we win it for the first time in 20 years, we won it by 11%. It was a landslide down in Miami-Dade. Not only that, we won Palm Beach County, which has not been won by a Republican for governor in almost 40 years. And we were able to win Palm Beach, which people didn't think was necessarily possible. You look at Osceola County, we flipped that. I mean, a huge swing in our direction. Again, that's a predominantly a Hispanic county. And so I think that what Florida showed is that, the good policies and the good leadership can reverberate just beyond your little silo of the people that agree with you on everything. We had people coming out to vote for us who may not have voted for Republicans in the past, and I think that ultimately is the way forward. And I think the other governors who were successful had similar programs. I think some of the others around the country, you had situations where these independent voters aren't voting for our candidates, even with Biden in the White House and the failures that we're seeing. That's a problem. And so Florida, I think, really shows the blueprint of what you can do to not only win, but really fundamentally change the overall political terrain in a very strong pro-freedom direction. And that's what we've done here. All right. Well, we'll be back soon. We've got some more stuff that we're going to be working on over the next week. We are going to do a special session of the legislature. We're working on the dates in December. We're going to be tackling, number of different issues there, which will be important. We may even end up, doing one or two in January, February potentially. We're talking with the legislators, seeing what's there. But I think we're going to have a very robust agenda, and I think people will be very pleased with the additional points we're able to put out on the board. Thanks.